Hey, good afternoon. So, can you retire on a very modest income? Because I'll tell you, folks, that's pretty much what I'm doing, and I'm going to explain to you how that works out for me and why. But this is just to tell you that you don't need to have millions and millions of dollars in the bank. As long as you're good with your budget and good with math, you can make things work the way you want them to work. And when I say I'm retiring on a very modest income, I'm gonna kind of step that out for you here, because um, I wasn't the best saver at first. I wasn't the best at debt management. I was buying things, spending money, things that I didn't need to do that I did. So these are lessons learned that hopefully now can save you some lessons and save you from learning the hard way. So let's start with the biggest piece of my puzzle, the fact that I have a pension. And the fact that my pension includes a multiplier supplement that starts the day I retire and pays extra until I turn 65. That is going to be the bulk of my retirement money for the first 4 to 5 years that I'm retired. I will get that money till 65, and then at 65 it reduces down to what we call our forever pension, which is basically years of service times a multiplier, and that's what I'll get forever. Minus, I will be getting the spousal benefit, so that'll cost me about 10% to get that for my wife. So if I pass, you'll get that. Now, she does not get any of the supplement income between now and 65. That supplement pays only to me. So she can only get a percentage of my forever pension benefit. So second reason I can make this very modest income and still retire is because my wife will still be working. She's quite a bit younger than I am. And, of course, we'd love to both retire together. But that's just not the place we're at right now. It doesn't mean it couldn't happen sooner for her. I certainly would rather her not have to work for very long. But what that does for us now, specifically, is that it covers my insurance for health insurance because of my pre-existing heart condition and etc. I need insurance. I can't go without it. Unfortunately, the medicines I take alone would cost me $3,000 a month out of pocket. But her being able to provide insurance for me helps offset some of that cost going into my retirement time. So that saves a big part of that. Plus, of course, she makes an income. So that her income combined with my pension, with its supplement, will be a decent income for us, but still modest, still very modest. Now, I talked about how my pension supplement drops off at 65. And at that point, if I have not already elected to take Social Security, that's when I will do so. Will be at 65. I'd like to try to maximize a year or two at least, of waiting. However, I've done a video on this before. The numbers never really catch up. If you start taking your Social Security at 62, you will far and away get paid more just by starting earlier. It's hard to make up that 5 years of income coming in just by getting more income 5 years later. So I may wait a year or two just to top because it goes from like 70% to at 62 to 75% at 63 to 70 or 81%, I think it is, at 64. And it just goes up a little bit incrementally until you get to 67. But if I haven't already, I'll start taking Social Security then. That will offset the supplement that I'm losing in my pension and keep our income flowing about the same. And then aside from that, I have just a very, very, and I mean this, very modest 401k. Again, I wasn't a great saver. We all have our issues that come up. I had health issues that kept us from really profiting on the 401k. I only did the minimum for a very, very long time because that's all we could afford with the bills and the medical bills until we got the debt taken care of from that. So, to the point that I'm ashamed to say how much I have. Because one, I wouldn't tell you anyway because it's not really your business. But secondly, just to tell you, I'm far and away below $1 million, way below, okay? So the reason that makes it work for me, though, is because I do get the pension. So that offsets a lot of that income right off the bat, because between the day I retire, and when that supplement drops off at 65, that pension is worth almost $250,000 alone. It's going to pay me $55, almost $60,000 a year for the first 4 years and so many months until I turn 65. So that makes up a lot of the 401k money that I don't have. That's one of the arguments we've had lately, is that it'd be great if they would buy out our pensions and allow us to put it in our 401k instead, because at least with the 401k, I can keep it in a interest-bearing account and it'll make more money. But there's definitely peace of mind that comes from having a monthly income that's basically promised, and knowing that that income's going to come in no matter what. And you don't have to worry about then managing how long your 401k will last, etc. And then, of course, my final piece of the puzzle is I do plan to work part-time, at least part-time, after I move to Florida full-time. I would not be retiring if we were not moved out of state. I would continue to work where I'm at, probably for another, until I was 64, 65. I have no reason physically not to work. I enjoy staying busy, and I will need to do something at least part-time while I'm down in Florida when I move, just to keep from going crazy. I'm just one of those people that likes to stay busy, and I like to have the peace of mind that comes with having a purpose every day to get up. We talk about those things too on this channel, because it's important to have a purpose in your life. That's what gets you up every day to go to work, okay? You can't just be about laying around watching Matlock or Murder, She Wrote. I can tell you that those are not fun to watch, having suffered through some time of watching those, a few at least, with my mother. Anyway, God bless her. She's given me a place to stay that's free, and that helps a lot too. So anyway, that's how I plan to retire, on a very modest income. And of course, there's ways you can do that too. You just need to know what your income's going to be, what your budget is, what your expenses are. What your expenses are, and then you find a way to manage around it. And if that means you got to work a little bit longer to get more money in your accounts to do so, then do so. If that means you have to work part-time like I plan to do, if I wasn't getting the supplement, I would definitely still take my retirement, which would be my lifetime number, which is less than half of what the supplement's going to be, and I would work part-time or full-time somewhere else and just take the hit and keep making some money. So there's ways to make these things work without having millions of dollars in the bank. That's my big takeaway for you today, is that you realize you don't have to be a millionaire to retire. Okay, you can do it if you're modest and you are budget conscious. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.